Hi everyone, it's Ashley from Crochet Companions, and today I am doing a video about some things I wish I knew before going to my first market. I'll be sharing with you guys how much profit I made at my first 2 markets, as well as some of the tips that I wish I knew before selling at them. So stay tuned to see some details about my revenue and also some of the things that I struggled with. So over the summer so far, I've sold at 2 markets, and they're both at the same place for the same amount of time, and I did about the same amount of sales at each one, but I did see some improvement with my second market, which is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. And I think I know why there was some improvement there, and it wasn't just because it was like my second market and I knew better from the last one. It was just because I made some changes to my setup that I think are really beneficial when selling at a craft fair or market. Before selling at these markets, I didn't really know what to bring or what to do for them, and I'd watch a lot of YouTube videos of people who were going to similar markets as me, but they didn't really say any tips on what I should do for my first one. They just kind of gave a tour of what they were doing, but that wasn't really super helpful because I needed actual examples of things I needed to know. So I decided that I would want to help you guys in case you're going to your first market or craft fair. In my opinion, the most important thing about going to a craft fair or market, whatever, is how many products you want to bring, because you don't want to sell out. I mean, it would feel good to sell out, but you don't want to, because then you're missing out on sales that you could have gotten if you had more inventory. So I think the first thing you should do is visit the fair or market if you can before you're the one selling at it. So in my own case, I went to one of the markets because they're held every Wednesday. So I went to one a few weeks before I was supposed to sell there, and I just try to see what the weather was like, how many people were there because of the weather, and I was just trying to see how many people went up to each table, and also how many products everyone had at their own table, just so I could get a grasp for how much I should bring to my own, which I thought was very helpful. And I mean, I ended up bringing too many products to my first market, but I didn't think that was a bad thing because then I had the inventory already ready for my second one. So it was pretty beneficial just to go and visit before. But if you're not able to do so, okay, as I was saying, I would message the people who've done the market before and just ask them how many customers they had, or if they would be willing to share anything about how many people came or what they brought. Because the main thing about your table is that you want it to be inviting for people to come over. So obviously have enough products to where it looks like you're not about to sell out, but don't have too many products to where people don't know what they want and it's just too overwhelming in general to come over. And also, you want to display your products the right way. So at my first market, I used these wooden crates to display my products, and I had them standing up like this, but I felt that people weren't really seeing things because they were too closed off and contained in these baskets. So instead, I got wooden shelves, which I'll include a clip of, and they did so much better. People were noticing everything on them, and everything that I had on the shelves actually sold better than stuff that I still had in the wooden baskets. So I think also just making sure your table is open and everything's easily seen. If it's not easily seen, people aren't going to try to search to find stuff. They just want it to be right in front of them and for it to be looking at them in the eyes, and then that's how they want to buy it. So I figured out that the things I had displayed higher up all sold because the people that were coming to my table were all adults, so they were obviously taller, and the first thing they would see were the things that were higher up, and then the little kids would see what was the lowest. So I think everything in the middle didn't sell as well, but everything up high and down low sold because of the heights of the people that came to my table. So that's another factor, just knowing your audience. So one thing that helped me picking out how I wanted to display things and what I wanted to use for my displays was just knowing that my audience is most likely going to be little kids because I'm selling plushies that are cute and colorful. So I also wanted to make my table colorful and inviting and also childlike. So my tablecloth has little animals like bunnies on it, and then I also had tiny statues can't find them, but I had tiny statues of bunnies and frogs. I could try to include a clip of those. And I felt like the little kids were commenting on them because it made the kids like welcome to come over to my table, and they thought everything was cute, which would obviously then make their parents buy my products. So I felt like knowing your audience is also super important for how you're going to set up, because obviously like older people can enjoy something that looks cute, but little kids are way more attracted to that. So once you have your like audience, table, products, everything done, like you know all of that, then it comes down to the tiny details of your table. And one thing that I think is super important is having business cards. At my first market, I didn't have business cards, and I was so mad because so many people came up to my table and was like, oh, do you have a business card? Like, can I follow your socials? And I didn't have them made. But then I knew that for my second market, so I bought a whole like box of them off of Vistaprint. It was like $250, pretty cheap too, and it came really fast. And I displayed them on my table. So many people took the business cards, and so many people followed my Instagram and TikTok and stuff just because of the business cards. So even though most of the people that took one didn't buy anything, they still helped my company by following me and supporting me that way. So I feel like that's a big thing to remember, and I can't believe I forgot it at my first market, because that could have given me more of an audience and helped me make more connections with people. So I feel like that's a big thing that I would push, getting business cards. They don't even have to look super professional. I made mine on Canva, and they just look like this. They're super simple. I used a template, and they're perfect. People loved them, so I would definitely get business cards and display them like right at the front so people could just walk by and take one. Don't like put them behind so people have to ask you. No, just have it so they could grab one and go. Another thing that I want you to remember is that when you're watching these big YouTubers, they've been selling for such a long time. So over time, they've like been able to buy the most expensive things for their tables, which honestly, you don't have to do from the start. For a cash box, I just use this plastic pencil case from the dollar store. I actually got most of my stuff from the dollar store, and people were commenting how cute it was. Like, I got this little tray table for $1, and I used it to display octopus, and people loved it. $1. And then I also got all of these chalkboard signs for $1, and they were super cute. They're super sturdy, they worked really well, and people loved how it looked on my table. So you really don't need to buy expensive things to have your table look nice, and it's also making you more of a profit because you're already paying to get into the market. You're paying for all the yarn and supplies, so and you're gonna have to pay for decorations. So don't spend a ton on the decorations. You're not selling them, they're just there. Okay, now I want to get into how much I made at each market and what I think is the most important thing to know when making sales at a market too. So first of all, when you come over to someone's table, you're gonna feel awkward if the person is just staring at you. Like, I noticed a lot of the vendors besides me would just like stare at the person coming to their booth and like watch them as they're like looking around. But I feel like that's so awkward, and the person is just not willing to even come over in the first place if they know you're gonna do that. So what I thought was really beneficial to me was to crochet while I was sitting there. And obviously if people would come over, I'd be like, oh, hi, like smile at them. That's it. And then like just let them look on their own or talk to me if they wanted to. But I would be looking down and crocheting. And that also brought over a ton of customers, because then people are like, oh, look, she's actually making what she has on display. Because even though it's crochet, people that don't know crochet don't know that it's handmade. So they had to come over and they were like, wow, you like make that all by hand? And I was like, yes. And that would lead them to buy something from me because they know I'm the one making it. And it also just attracted people over because it's interesting. It's fun to watch people do their craft. So I would say be nice to your customers, like look at them, like smile, but don't stare. Like, you really don't. It's really not welcoming, and it's honestly scary and overwhelming, because for me, when I go to markets, I don't go over to tables where people are like waiting for people to come up, because I don't want to be interrogated by just looking, and I don't want to feel bad by not buying anything. So the people that came over to my tables and didn't buy anything, I would just be like, oh, I have business cards if you want one, and they would take one. Follow my Instagram, they didn't buy anything, but that's still beneficial to me. So I would say be very welcoming to the people that come over to your table, but don't be like on top of them too much and like push them to buy. Okay, so at my first market, I made $230, which I thought was really great because the fee to sell there was only $60, and the materials costs are like calculated into my prices anyway. So the time I spent there was just what like I was losing money on, but technically I wasn't, because I was actually crocheting while I was there, which I was making product while working at a market and selling those products. So I wasn't wasting time at all. It was really beneficial to me to crochet while I was there. And then at my second market, I made $250. So I almost made $500 in total just from 2 markets. And they were my very first 2 markets. It was a local craft fair. It wasn't huge or anything. And my best sellers were my Leggy Froggies and my axolotls, as well as my pickles and octopuses. People love those. I thought the bees would sell super well. People liked them, they would comment on them, but they wouldn't really buy them. And then people also really loved the ducks that I have. So these ducks, people absolutely love them. Like, let me see, for my second market, 3 people bought them and I only brought 5, and they're $14 each. And they don't take me too long to make it, but I just think they're super adorable, and everyone was commenting on them. And then also, one thing to know is that you don't have to set up a square if you don't want to. I don't have one personally, and it worked fine for me. I didn't lose out on any sales because I didn't accept credit card. I have Venmo, and then I accepted cash. And honestly, it was very half and half. About like a little over half of the people used Venmo if they didn't have cash on them, and then everyone else used cash. But remember to bring change for people. I made sure to bring enough change because everyone was just handing me 20s, and some of my stuff was like $8, and I had to make sure that I had enough change to give them. So definitely don't forget that, because I feel like I almost did the first time, like my first market, and my mom had to remind me, and I was like, oops. So definitely don't forget about that. And just set up a Venmo, it's free. It takes like 2 seconds. I think you just have to link your bank account to it, and it works just fine. And then I print out my code, like my Venmo code, so people could just scan the QR and then Venmo me directly, and they don't have to like look up my name or anything. So it makes it more convenient. Honestly, I went into my first market thinking I wasn't even going to make my table fee back. So when I made $230, I was ecstatic. I was so happy because like, obviously I didn't think I was going to be that successful, and well, some people on YouTube like will make $1,000 at a market or whatever. I was still so glad to make $230. Like, that's a lot of days work on like trying to get sales on my Etsy. So honestly, don't set your standards too high for how you think your first market will go, but also like have like some faith in yourself, because I think I went into it thinking I wasn't gonna get any sales, and then I ended up getting a lot, and I was just so happy. And then going into my second market, I was more prepared, and I felt like I had more confidence because I knew I could get the sales that I wanted to. So it's just all about having confidence. Like, I feel like at my first market too, I was really nervous, and I was like less like inclined to talk to people that came over. But the second one, I was a lot more talkative with the people, and I like made better connections. So that's all I have for today. I just wanted to tell you guys about how my first markets went and some stuff that I wish I knew before selling at a local craft fair market. And if you made it this far, please subscribe. I will have more videos about selling at markets, selling on Etsy, just crocheting in general. So if you're interested in that, then welcome to my channel. And I really hope I helped you guys out today, because I wish I had this help before selling. So if I could at least help one person, that would be great. And yeah, I hope you guys have a really great day, and I will see you in the next video.